What's going on, guys? Back with another video. Now today in the NBA news, there's been a lot of talk about Kyrie Irving. He didn't play in that last game due to personal reasons, and now I don't even think the Nets GM know where he is. I mean, there's a report, people were saying he was out in Toronto partying with Drake. Then it came out he was celebrating his sister and dad's birthday at a little party with no mask on, so he could be violating, COVID protocols. I mean, there's a lot going on with that guy right now. Woj tweeted out that if Kyrie Irving was found to be violated the league health/safety protocols, he's facing a proportional game reduction of 181.6 of his salary, which is $410,000 per game. And he also says he will forfeit that money for every game lost because of a mandated isolation. And the league is probing the video now. That don't sound no good. But, I don't know. To a guy like Kyrie Irving, who's different. And I think that's why Kyrie Irving also gets a lot of hate. Is because he's different. People don't like people who aren't like them or who act within society's norms. Kyrie walking around in arenas with Sage and, all this different stuff. And you kind of get a sense of how Kyrie works. He's different. He already said in one game that he didn't play, and he didn't play because he didn't feel like it. I mean, so when you talk about Kyrie Irving, you can't talk about him within the context of your average NBA player, because that's not what he is. And the Nets knew that when they signed him. But if they wanted KD, they needed Kyrie. So regardless of if they was a little iffy about signing him, they wanted to compete. And at the end of the day, Kyrie Irving, when he get on that court with the basketball in his hands, he a magician. At the end of the day. But for a lot of people, and myself included, you kind of felt like it was only just a matter of time. Now, Woj also tweeted out comments from the Nets GM, Sean Marks. Sean Marks said, Kyrie Irving remains away from the team due to personal reasons. A date for his return has yet to be finalized. In the meantime, we will continue to stay focused on our organizational goals. I mean, that don't sound too good. Sounds like the Nets GM don't really know what's going on with him. Don't know when he'll be back. Steve Nash was also asked about if he was confident that Kyrie Irving will return to the Nets this year. His answer was sure. I mean, and I understand the uncertainty because Kyrie Irving is such an enigma. He's so eccentric of a person that you don't know what his next move is. He's unpredictable. He's not one of those guys you can really, all right, he's going to do this, he's going to do this, he'll be back. You don't know what he'll do. I found another tweet on a podcast he did in 2017. He said, one of my best friends told me that he really thinks that I may become the Lauryn Hill of the NBA and just leave early before I get to my prime. Kyrie Irving is exactly that type of dude. He could retire early, and I wouldn't be surprised at all. He's just that type of guy. He's a different, he's a different kind of person. Like I said before, he's not your average NBA player. So you can't think of him in that limelight. You just can't. Now, what people will say in defense of him is, the media only talk about the bad stuff. The media only pick and choose, which is very true because they do that with players all the time. It is very true. But, you could talk about his donations to, charities and all these different things. I want people to understand that you can be a good person, but that does not mean that you're a good employee. Because at the end of the day, no matter how much Kyrie Irving makes, he's an employee on a professional basketball team with a whole group of other guys who are ready to play basketball and are trying to win. It's not like the Nets are 7-2, best team in the East. They're not. I mean, they've lost to some teams that they probably shouldn't have lost to. My Wizards being one of them. And then you have this on top of them not being that great right now. So that's just adding on to the stress levels of the GM, of the other players. How is Kevin Durant feeling? Yeah, he may, not say much because, that's Kyrie is still his good friend, his brother. But How is he really feeling? How are Karis LeVert and DeAndre Jordan, Jared Allen, and Joe Harris and all these other guys playing that he shares the court with? How are they feeling? They at the facility, they ready to work. And Kyrie Irving just don't feel like it. No matter how good of a person you may be, you know, the sport that he is playing is very team oriented. You know, and he's not a good employee. That's just the facts. It's not just about him. And I understand wanting to celebrate, you know, your sister and your father's birthday and all that. You know, family first. I would never tell anybody different. So I completely understand that. But people also got to understand, Kyrie Irving isn't me and you. He don't clock in and clock out. You know what I'm saying? His salary ain't our salary. Just because we will be like, man, F that job, or blase blah, whatever, and we would say we not coming in. Kyrie Irving is making millions of dollars to play a sport contractually. I mean, that's just what it is. He knows the deal. That's what he signed up for. And he knows that. And especially with the pandemic going on currently, to be doing it and with no mask, etc., that's just irresponsible. Because number one, you have to look at what the NBA is going through right now. Postponing games. You had the Philadelphia 76ers playing with barely 8 people. The Heat playing tonight with barely 8 people. Like, you got a lot going on. The Wizards cancel practice because 2 dudes out with health protocol stuff. So it's a bad look on the league that's already going through, you know, the COVID stuff and guys being out and missing time, etc. And then you showing this. I mean, it's very irresponsible. And like I said, this is not to bash him as a person. I'm not talking about him as a person. I'm talking about Kyrie Irving as an employee of a professional basketball organization. I'm not saying he's a bad person. I'm not saying, you know, he's a trash person or anything like that. But that does not mean that he's not being a good teammate. He is definitely not being a good teammate right now, at the end of the day. Because when he put on the Nets jersey, he's not getting on the court by himself. He's sharing the court with 4 other guys. I mean, that's just the facts. Kyrie Irving is just, I think he's a special player. I think he is a misunderstood person, but I do think he is a difficult teammate to handle at the end of the day. I mean, and I think those are the facts, you know, and he can get away with these things because he's Kyrie Irving. So he can get away with it. You think if it was Joe Harris doing this, what do you think that GM would have said? You know, you think if this was Cabaret saying this, what do you think the GM would have said? It's because it's Kyrie Irving. So he also knows that he can do this. And that's just the privilege of it all. I mean, when you that good, you can get away with certain things. You just can. Until an organization finally get fed up. But, you know, I do feel bad for those teammates who, you know, aren't Kyrie Irving, who come into work and ready to go. And they know if they pull some stuff like this, they be shipped right out the door. No questions asked. But I don't know what's going on with the Nets. We all knew it was going to be drama. And along with the not, you know, having the greatest of records and stuff right now. I mean, the season early, of course, obviously. It's still going to be a contender. But it's very early and you getting a lot of Nets drama already. And the season is just beginning. And you already getting drama. So, I don't know what's next with Kyrie Irving. I don't know. Like I say, he's unpredictable. And it don't help that he called people in the media peons. So, of course, they going to definitely pick and choose what they want to say about him. You done made an enemy out of the media. That's not a good thing. You know, at the end of the day, they control what the narrative is. The media people, the media conglomerate, control what the narrative is about you. Calling them peons ain't going to help you, brother. But, I don't know. Hopefully he come back. You know, I have no issues with Kyrie Irving as a person. As a teammate, I can understand why his teammates may be frustrated. Or Nets fans may be frustrated. But that's all I got for you guys. I just wanted to talk about this topic. But until next time, y'all. Peace.